Hey everybody, it's Charlie from DM Sound, and today we've got the sound system demo on the 2024 Lexus GX and its 21-speaker Mark Levinson sound system. This is going to be an in-depth review. We're going to take a look at how the infotainment system works, take a look at audio inputs, adjustments, controls, speaker locations. We're going to test out the 5.1 capabilities, and then we're going to head out on the road and listen to these sample tracks while we're rolling, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Now, if you don't care about any of that stuff at the beginning and you just want to hear the music, click ahead in the video. We've got chapters to get you right to the tunes. And if you want to hear even more on the system, sign up below to become a Daily Motor member. I recorded a members-only test with members-requested tracks. It's real music. It's stuff we've listened to in a lot of different cars, and it's going to give you a more in-depth impression for this. And the only reason I charge for it is because I can't make any money because it's all copyrighted music. So before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. This is probably one of my most requested new car audio system tests, the updated Lexus GX. This is a 550 Overtrail Plus model, giving us the off-road goodies as well as the interior creature comforts. I'm quite a big fan of the new GX, so if you do want to see my full review, check the link below. We've got some pros and cons and a DM ranking. But if you do want to see more on the sound system, like I said, you've got that members-only sound test below and this review right here. Now, we always do these tests with lossless, uncompressed WAV files on a USB stick plugged directly into the system, and high-quality Roland binaural microphones in both of my ears, giving you the most realistic audio system demo on YouTube. We also do the test with the sound settings set to their factory defaults. So let's take a look at those now. You've got this newer Lexus/Toyota infotainment system here. It takes up a nice center portion of the center console, I suppose. It's built into the dash. We're right here on the media screen, so we're going to go down to the gear icon, scroll down, get to sound and media, and then you've got levels. Auto sound levelizer. This is going to adjust volume based on driving speed. Now, in some cars, that simply makes the music louder to compensate for wind, engine, and road noise. This actually changes elements of the music to balance out the sound, what they think is better for when you're driving at speed. I'll toggle it on and off throughout our test. It's hard for me to say what sounds better because I've had it on and off throughout my week of testing with the vehicle, and certain times I think it sounds better with it on, certain times I think it sounds better with it off. So we'll play around with it. You're not going to hear any difference right now while we're static. But then below that, under sound tuning, you have adjustments for treble, mid-range, and bass. Let's go through those. Decent bit of adjustability there. I'd really like to see a 5 or a 9-band equalizer in a car with a storied and an esteemed sound system brand such as Mark Levinson. And I'd also like to see a few of the kind of gimmicks that are coming in a lot of the other luxury vehicles, such as the personal sound profiles like Mercedes has with their Burmester systems, or some of the sound profiles and stages that you see, such as in the Volvos, or maybe one of the sizzle reels like you see in the Harman Kardon, or what are those, the Bowers and Wilkins systems, I think? No, the Bowers and Wilkins systems. But it's an effective treble, mid-range, and bass. Below that, you have a front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance adjustment, and that is it for audio adjustments. Now, you're not going to see any sort of surround sound modes in this car, which is a little interesting. That's not a huge deal for me. I would rather just have a good, pure, solid stereo sound experience, but a lot of people are going to be expecting more of that surround experience there in their cars, depending on what other luxury vehicles they're coming from. Coming back and looking at audio controls here in the GX, you've got a small volume knob in the center. No clicks, very standard Toyota Lexus right here. You've also got a clicker for volume on the left side of the wheel. For track selection, no physical controls up here, so you got to use the touch screen depending on what you're doing in there. So say, for example, you've got navigation up and you want to change a song, you're going to have to click over here and go back to your media screen, change the song, and then return back to navigation. But if you're the driver, at least you have volume or track controls on the right side of the steering wheel. For audio inputs here in the GX, you have your standard hit radio, AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite radio with support for HD radio. Coming back to our media, you've got a USB-C port for media. You've got Bluetooth support with wireless and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. You've also got Amazon Music and Apple Music built into the system. What does that mean you're missing? There's no 3.5mm auxiliary input, no disc input either. So if you do want to get high fidelity audio in here, you're going to have to use phone projection or one of their built-in streaming services, but that's not giving you anything like Tidal or Spotify or what's another one people use a lot? Well, YouTube Music, that's what I use. So a little bit limited in your inputs there, but still nice to have a few streaming options. Speaker locations. Now, I have a little bit of a discrepancy on this one because Lexus and Mark Levinson utilize these 2-in-1 Unity speakers in a lot of places around the car. So it's a mid-ranger and a tweeter coaxial combo. And Mark Levinson hasn't published the updated speaker diagram for the GX. They do have it for the new RX, so I'm basing it a little off of that and also what I can find here in the car. So I'll tell you what I'm sure of and I'll tell you where the discrepancy is. But you've got a door woofer 1, mid-ranger 2, tweeter 3. Up here you've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Unity speakers. 10, 11, 12 over in the right door. And then in the back is where it starts to get a little hairy because what I assume in the base GX sound system is that this down here is a speaker. However, in the Mark Levinson, it looks like a speaker. You see the cutout, but you put your ear up to it and you don't hear anything. You shine a little flashlight in, you realize there's nothing behind this speaker grill. So it's one of two things. They've either got a Unity speaker here and then the tweeter, but it's more likely that they have just a mid-ranger here and then the tweeter. So then you're looking at 13, 14, 15, 16. Then you come into the back and you get 2 more Unity speakers and the subwoofers. What were we at? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then 21. That's what I'm fairly confident in because I don't know why they would do Unity speaker and a tweeter back here in the rear doors. And I know for sure that this speaker right here, this tweeter, is functional. So that's my best guess. If I hear anything of the contrary, I'll update below. Before we head out on the road, let's test out the 5.1 capabilities of this system using the immersiveaudioalbum.com sound test.
Welcome to the Immersive Audio Album channel configuration test. Left. Center. Right. Left surround.
Oh.
Right surround.
That is not 5.1.
LFE.
So it sounds like we're getting a proper down mixing from 5.1 down to stereo. So still better than some of the cars we've seen recently that didn't down mix properly, but a bit surprising that we're not getting full 5.1 support here out of a Mark Levinson system. For most people, I don't think that's going to be a big deal. Most people are just listening to stereo music anyway, but still a bit surprising. And with all of that, let's head out on the road. I'm really trying to pinpoint what is disappointing me about the sound system. And I'm going to go through this a little bit more in my conclusion, but it's not really doing anything wrong. It's just not doing anything that impressive. This song is something that should move me. I should be feeling it in my gut. And then the little elements of the snare drums and the hi-hat should be coming off in the tweeters. And then there should be a driving force from down low. None of that's really happening, but it's also not distorting. And it does have some rumble to it. It's just not that wow factor. But speaking of a wow factor, for this next track, we'll turn the bass all the way up. Hear what we can get out of those door woofers and that subwoofer. Okay, that's a lot of power. 1,800 watts out of this system. And even really loud. I'm not getting distortion. I'm feeling it in my seat. Seeing some mirror shakeage. Although, wait. What happened? Why is it so much weaker now? I'm going to restart the track. I don't know if that's something in the track or if that's something that just happened with the sound system. Okay, I think it's just the... Listen to that. The bass goes away. I think the subwoofer's overheating, or now it's coming back. I've never experienced that before. It must be protecting itself, going into a protection mode. I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's better than it blowing out, but wow, I've never had that happen before. That's a weird artifact. Y'all hear that? There's a weird resonance happening. My thoughts on the 21 speaker Mark Levinson sound system here in the 24 Lexus GX. Like I said a bit earlier, it's not that this system is doing anything blatantly wrong. It just doesn't sound compelling. There's nothing about it that blows me away or moves me. And I've actually had a lot of seat time in this car. I've driven it for about 9 hours. And a lot of that was listening to music, whether it be the members-only tests or my own music. And again, nothing about it was offensive. The tuning is balanced. It's powerful. It's just missing that fizz and that wow factor that the old one had. Now, when I tested the last 17-speaker Mark Levinson system in the GX460, it was in the very early days of my sound system testing, so the video is not very good. Theoretically, the audio quality should be comparable, so I'll try to do some comparisons here after this, like I've been doing with some of the newer videos. I don't know what tracks we'll have to compare. Cancel, I didn't say anything. Anyway, I don't know what we'll have to compare. We'll see what I can do. But I don't like that this car is moving toward a less impressive Mark Levinson sound system. And it mirrors my thoughts on the RX and the LX as well. I don't think I've published an LX sound test yet because apparently the one I was driving had a pre-production system, and I don't think it sounded quite as good as what a production system should sound like, so I wanted to hold off on actually giving my thoughts until I got in a production system. Same was the case with this GX. I wanted to get into a production model, and here I am. It's okay. I'd say strictly for sound quality, it's coming in at an A-. I'm really tempted to give it a B+ just because of the principle, of the fact that people come to expect a certain sound quality from Mark Levinson and Lexus, and you're not quite getting it here in this model. But I'll let it come in at an A- and let you all make your final judgments based on my commentary. One last thing I do want to point out, some keen-eyed observers will notice that I was doing 5 miles per hour lower in this test than my typical 70 miles per hour cruising. That's because this vehicle is equipped with a roof rack that makes a ton of noise, and these all-terrain tires in the Overtrail Plus model, so I wanted to compensate for that a little bit. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the GX or any of our other systems, check the link below, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from DM Sound, and as always,